Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Stinger, and today I'm going to be showing each and every one of you how to make a beat in the style of Quadeca's album, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. Now, just as a preface, I am recording this before the album has actually come out, so I'm just basing this off of the singles we've already heard, being Born Yesterday and Tell Me a Joke. And this tutorial is going to be stupid long because there are so many aspects to this beat, so let's just dive right into this. Alright, so here we have our beat, and the way I'm going to be breaking this down is I'm just going to go 8 bars by 8 bars, meaning I'll start with the intro, go into the next 8 bars, go into the next 8 bars, so on and so forth. Although the first thing that you're going to need is a guitar sample. Now, I decided to record this guitar live, and this is what it sounds like. And now I suck at playing the guitar. In total, I probably have like 20 hours I've spent on the guitar. But I saw this amazing video going over a certain tuning that you could use to play the guitar a lot easier. And I know it's kind of cheating, but I wanted to make my own guitar for this beat. So if you want to check out that tuning, I'll link the video where I found that in the top right, so that way you guys can make some incredible guitar melodies yourself as well. Now, I have a lot of effects on this guitar, but the only ones that are really important are Cymatic's Origin, which gives it that super vintage chorusy sound, and M Tremolo, which gives it a little bit of wobble. And both of those plugins are free, by the way. And now for the intro, I decided to throw some Portal on the guitar, and the preset that I used is the Scattered Thought preset, because I wanted the intro to kind of have like an eerie, sinister kind of vibe. I didn't want it to go straight into like that emo, folksy guitar. So this is what the guitar sounds like with those effects. And then along with that guitar for the intro, I added in a couple of ambiences. The first one being this fire crackling ambience, and the second one being this flies buzzing ambience. Now, I threw this in there for a reason because from what we've seen of I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, it heavily revolves around death. And I thought, what better way to throw in some symbolism of death than to throw in some flies buzzing? So that's another little tip. If you really want to encapsulate that I Didn't Mean to Haunt You vibe, throw in some kind of theme or symbolism of death. And then I also threw down this whoosh to transition into the next portion, as well as this reverse melodic sound. So with that being said, this is what the intro sounds like all together. Alright, and then after that, I have it transition into the next section where I'm playing the guitar with just its basic effects. And then I also throw down a couple of extra melodic components. And the first one is this pad sound, which I threw a ton of bit crushing on. And I just have it playing an altered version of the chords I'm playing on the guitar. And then after that, I threw down this super ambient sound from Omnisphere, being the flaming water tones. And this is the pattern that it's playing. So this is what all of those melodic components sound like together. And then after that, I introduced 2 more melodic components. The first one is this string patch from Arcade. I just have it playing one long sustained pattern. Something I've noticed a lot with Quadeca's instrumentation is he likes to create a good combo between synthetic sounds and acoustic sounds. So for this instrumental, we have the pads and that ambience being the synthetic sounds, and then we have that guitar and this violin being the acoustic sounds. And then after that, I threw down this live bass from Ample Guitar, and this is the pattern that it's playing. And to transition into this section, I used an impact. I heavily suggest making use of cinematic sounds such as risers, impacts, and downsweeps, because these will make your transitions a lot more powerful and noticeable. So with that being said, this is what that section sounds like. Alright, and then after that we have it go into the next section, where I just have the guitar playing straight up, no other things except for that fly noise. And after that we are going to transition into the next phrase of this beat. That is something that is super integral to these Quadeca beats, by the way. You want to have completely different sections of the beat. There has to be a ton of variation. So with that being said, I introduced this new fast-paced guitar melody. And along with that, I threw down this super basic drum pattern, just playing with various perks and effects. And then I also threw down this reverse snare to lead into the snares. And then lastly, I threw down this glitch loop from my binary glitch pack. And in that pack, it has 15 rhythmic glitch loops, 15 non-rhythmic glitch loops, and 30 glitch one-shots. And if you want it, you can grab it in the link in the description. So this is what the glitch loop sounds like. So with everything all together, this is what this section sounds like. And then after that, I just introduced these live drums from SSD Sampler. And yet again, by doing this, I'm playing around with that concept of synthetic elements and acoustic elements. So I have those synthetic elements of the drums being those kicks and those snares, and then I introduced this acoustic element being these live drums. And then after this section, I have it transition into a new section. And to make a clean transition, I use distortion automation to kind of wrap up this segment. And then yet again, I introduced these cinematic components being these risers. So with that being said, this is what this portion sounds like along with the transition. And then after that, I have it transition into the final section, which is the biggest and most impactful segment of the beat. The first thing that I laid down is that same guitar melody from the first portion of the beat. After that, I threw down this new pattern with that same bit crushed pad from the beginning. And I purposefully made this third chord super dissonant. And that's because I wanted to incite that kind of horror suspense element to yet again tie in with that theme of death. Also, since the rest of the beat has sounded pretty like melancholic and emo-esque, I wanted this to kind of shift the mood a little bit. After that, yet again, I threw in a sub bass to fill in those low range frequencies. Next, I threw in a couple of instances of arcade. And for the first one, I'm using this Ling Chi patch. And this is the pattern that it's playing. Throwing in little things like this to add ambience are super integral for these kind of beats, because it's little things like this that just kind of sit in the background of the mix that really make the whole beat sound complete. After that, I threw down this choir from Arcade and it's just playing this pattern. And then for the final melodic component, I threw down this guitar lead. So with that being said, this is what the first portion of that final section of the beat sounds like. Alright, and then finally, for this last section, I introduced 3 new things. The first one is that original guitar melody, but I pitched it up by 1 octave. Second thing I introduced are these super distorted live drums, yet again from SSD Sampler. And I wanted this final portion to kind of wrap up in the same way that Tell Me a Joke does, because the whole song overall is pretty mellow, but at the end it is just super chaotic. So this is the pattern that the drums are playing. And then to tie in with those distorted drums, I threw on Guitar Rig on the lead guitar. And then I just threw it on the Carlos in Europe preset. And then after this whole chaotic section, I just have it play the original guitar melody as an outro. So with that being said, this is what the final portion of the beat sounds like. And remember, for these kind of beats, you really want to take a while to craft it. As you can see down here, it took me a little bit under 6 hours to make this beat, which for me is a stupid long time. So don't be afraid to lay some stuff down and come back to it later, just so you can make sure everything is perfect. But with that being said, that's going to pretty much cover how to make a Quadeca I didn't mean to haunt you type beat. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments down below and I will do my best to answer them. Also, I'm sorry if I sound a bit like nasally, like rice gum. My allergies are actually just slapping me in the face right now. But if you enjoyed the tutorial, feel free to subscribe as I post 2 videos every week. One long one and one short one. Other than that, that's going to be it. Peace.